You're watching Indiana Sport. It's time for Hoosier High School Sports Overtime.
Good morning and welcome to Hoosier High School Sports Overtime. I'm Jeremiah Johnson. Can you believe it's already week 4 of the football season? The cream is starting to rise to the top. We'll check in with quite a few 4-0 teams, highlights from 15 different games around the state of Indiana, and one of those undefeated head coaches, Lawrence Central's Jason West, will stop by the studios. But first, the heavyweight battle on the west side of Indianapolis. Until Carmel broke through a year ago, either Ben Davis or Warren Central had won 6 straight Class 5A state titles, both with a shot this season, taking 3-0 records into their matchup at Warren. Now, the Warriors had a 28-14 lead in the third quarter. They get the all-important 3-score cushion as Derek Hart hits Anthony Freeman, a scoring strike that covers 30 yards. 35-13, Warren dominating. Ben Davis does have a handful of playmakers. Miles Wright's one of them. He tallies 2 rushing touchdowns, 72 yards on the ground. That makes it 35-21. But Warren, known for his ground game, can throw this year. Coach Hart's son, Derek, at the controls, 15 yards to Maurice McGee. 6 of 14, 137 through the air for Hart, 3 of them touchdowns. Warren wins 42-21. But make no mistake, this team still relies on its rushing attack. Eric Williams, 148 yards on the ground. George Cheeseborough also over the century mark. Warren continues its recent dominance over Ben Davis. Well, the muddy field is perfect for a Cathedral Chittard showdown. This one all about smash mouth. Chittard's Ari Pappas running hard. Like he always does, the helmet flies off. Chittard leads 8-0 early. Now watch another wild play. Cathedral quarterback Kofi Hughes drops the snap or kind of has to avoid a tackler and then somehow gets it to Tom Bemendorfer, a gutsy 24-yard touchdown. Cathedral wins 15-14 after stopping Chittard on a 2-point conversion with under 2 minutes to play. Now, as good as Cathedral is, Columbus East could very well be the Class 4A favorite. The Olympians rack up another blowout win, 56-0 over Jennings County. Through 4 games, the average East score is 47-4. Very impressive. Well, time to recognize the phenomenal work done by Fisher's coach Rick Wimmer. The Tigers, in just their 3rd year with the football program, are already a power, taking a 2-1 record into last night's game against Avon. Third quarter, Avon quarterback Jake Harris picked off by Stephen Goydig, and he takes it 59 yards the other way for a touchdown. This game was tied at 21 in the second half. 14 quick points for Fishers, give them a 2-score lead, and they are not finished. They score the first 28 points of the second half, and they roll to a 49-35 win. That's Alex Hines to Jordan Usel. Hines finishes with 4 touchdown passes. Fishers wins 49-35. Now Hamilton Southeastern hope to stay perfect at home against Zionsville. The Royals do it with defense in the early going. It doesn't get much easier than this. Matt Limeropoulos, 39-yard interception return for a score. Matt Ripp is usually the Royal we're used to seeing on the highlights. 82 yards on the ground in this game, 53 of them on the draw play. The Royals led 20-3 at halftime, and that lead barely holds up. Southeastern 20, Zionsville 16. Now there are 10 teams in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, thus each Friday is a conference game. Southeastern and Lafayette Jeff, the only perfect teams. Fisher's only loss came to the Royals. Now it should be a great game on Friday when Jeff travels to Southeastern. Elsewhere in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, Brownsburg at Westfield. The Shamrocks with some tough luck this year. They're still looking for their first win. Good defense by the guys in green. Brad Holland picked off by Josh Garrett, but not enough highlights for Westfield as Holland gets it going. He was 11 of 25, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. Incredible effort by Josh Markovich on this one. Brownsburg improves to 2-2 with a 27-13 win. Well, at this relatively early point of the year, an undefeated record is not necessarily an indicator of season-long success. When 2 unbeatens play, you get a good barometer of who's got the goods. One of those matchups Friday, 3-0 Tri-West hosting 3-0 North Montgomery. It's a big Sagamore Athletic Conference game, and the Chargers would strike early and often. Ethan Carpenter, 6-yard scamper, gives Northmont a 14-0 lead. The Bruins would battle back. Jake Allen has a touchdown run of his own, but Tri-West had allowed just 10 combined points through the first 3 games. A few more as North Montgomery would roll to a 44-21 win. To the scoreboard, a good old Putnam County grudge match. North Putt wins 20-6. Another big game for Griffin Dahlstrom as the Cougars improve to 4-0. Great one at Speedway Friday. The 3-0 Spark Plugs against 3-0 Cardinal Ritter. Speedway quarterback Johnny West throws for 285 yards, 22 of them on the touchdown pass to Kyle Linville. That makes the score Ritter 27, Speedway 20. Whatever Speedway can do, Ritter can do a little better. Ross Hendrickson throws for 309 yards. The play of the night material from Tyrone Walker. Great concentration, great strength. Ritter wins it over Speedway 40-27. Well, all is not lost for Speedway. The Sparkplugs still have that 2-1 record, or 3-1 I should say, thanks in part to a player who's been pretty busy this fall. Indiana 4's Larry Hawley has more.
We're the smallest public school in Marion County.
Which means that two-sport athletes are pretty common.
Volleyball or basketball or volleyball or softball is a common combination.
At Speedway High School, in fact, some play two sports in the same season.
Cross country, I run, and volleyball in the fall.
Courtney Walton is in that group as well.
Sports is my life, and all I do is play sports.
This sport specifically, till late in the afternoon.
Usually go to volleyball practice until about 5:30 and then come out here.
That's when her other sport comes in.
She always joked about it with her family and saying that she would take over for her brother.
I always watched him, and I knew that when he left, there was no kicker.
A girl kicking, wow.
And she asked me last year if she could kick, and she pretty much beat everybody else out.
She first came out, I didn't think she was serious, but she's one of the most determined players we have.
I thought it was a joke, but yeah, she's been kicking for us. She kicks pretty good too.
And despite this two-sport athlete's unusual transition from inside to out, Courtney says she's just as comfortable on the gridiron as she is on the volleyball court.
Like, I get the same stuff as every other guy gets. I don't get any special thing. If they hit me, they hit me. You know, I'm out here.
Making Walton a unique, multi-sports athlete.
I really like it.
In Speedway, Larry Hawley for the Hoosier High School Sports Overtime.
Thanks a lot, Larry. The stories and the highlights continue after the break. We'll take a trip to southern Indiana and also tell you about a Lebanon Tigers' long road to recovery. That is next on Hoosier High School Sports Overtime.
You're watching Hoosier High School Sports Overtime on Indiana's 4. Get ready for double overtime.
Welcome back. Heritage Hills is one of the most respected high school football teams in the entire state. Respect in a way that every school circles the Patriots game on their calendar, and Jasper is no different. Friday, the Wildcats forgot about Heritage Hills' past success and put a whooping on the Patriots. Second play from scrimmage, Jasper's a good one. Austin Aarons over the middle to Andy Binkley. It's a 67-yard Jasper touchdown, 6-0, two-point conversion, no good, but they don't need it. The defense takes over. Watch this play as Heritage Hills with the pass tipped the ball off the Patriots receiver's hands and then feet, and then somehow Andy Wentholtz picks it up off the carom and goes the other way. A phenomenal play as Jasper's in business, sets up another touchdown. Heritage Hills shut out for the first time since 2005, 18-0 your final from DuBois County. No shutout in Monroe County, instead an unprecedented shootout. Bloomington South wins 69-41 over Bloomington North, the most points ever scored by a Panther team. That includes when Rex Grossman played for South. Big night for Ernie Morris as he scored 5 touchdowns. In Evansville, Wrights and Memorial Tiger quarterback Grant Gribbins avoids the rush, rolls to his left, throws with his right to Jackson Jarbo for a 40-yard score. Memorial led it 14-7. After a 90-minute delay for Lightning, the Wrights Panthers would come back. They rally for a 24-21 win down in Vanderburgh County. Now, when you ask the average high school sports fan what they think of Bedford North Lawrence, Damon Bailey no doubt comes to mind. But the Stars have been shining on the football field this year, 2-1 after a thrilling 34-33 win against Jeffersonville last week. Now Friday, they traveled to New Albany, homecoming for the Bulldogs. Lila Waters is your queen. BNL down 7-3, and they score with defense. Linebacker David Pace picks it off and gives the Stars the lead. They won in a shootout last week. This time, it's their only touchdown. New Albany quarterback Graham Brown has an answer for that pick. He throws for 2 scores, picks up the game winners. The Bulldogs win 14-10. New Albany is 3-1 off to its best start since 2002. Jeffersonville hosting Madison. Jeffersonville looking good. The Red Devils quarterback, future Indiana Hoosier Edward Wright Baker, hands off to running back Jamie Goldsmith for the 9-yard touchdown. Jeffersonville takes the early lead. Later in the game, more of the same from Goldsmith. The Red Devils, and he runs in for another touchdown, makes it look easy. Jeffersonville goes on to defeat Madison 39-14. Surprisingly, that's their first win of the season. Now, as we head To the northern part of the state, we'll check in on the Mid-Indiana Conference. Lewis Cass and Hamilton Heights with an important showdown in the second quarter. The Kings already up 14-0. Colton Zeck takes the handoff, and he will run almost the entire length of the field, a 96-yard sprint, and you know we're showing a touchdown run. He had 181 yards rushing on the day, an impressive performance by the Kings as they beat the Huskies 34-6. Got to mention the Eastern Comets out of Howard County. They ended a 24-game losing streak, 33-7. Eastern over Mechaniqua. Congratulations to the Comets. One more highlight to show you. Lebanon hosting the Hot Dogs of Frankfort. Both teams looking for their first win of the season. Third quarter, Tigers quarterback Matt Beard hooks up with receiver Wynn Jester. 4-yard touchdown. That capped off a 12-play, 79-yard drive. Tigers would lead 14-0. They hold on to defeat the Hot Dogs 17-6. Congrats to Lebanon for their first win of the season. Now, the Lebanon football team has had their thoughts off the field this season as well. Indiana's Forward's Gene Cox tells us about one injured player and a community's mission to help him.
Alex Rose, the Lebanon football player seriously injured last month in an ATV accident, has a big heart and wild hair, and he now knows he has more friends than he thought. Dozens of people have stepped up to help build the 16-year-old who is now paralyzed from the waist down a handicap-accessible cottage adjacent to his parents' Lebanon home on Lafayette Avenue.
First weekend, we probably had 20, 25 people out here showed up. I was expecting about 6, and they just kept rolling in.
That rolling momentum during the last 2 weeks has included food donations and much more.
With all the materials and hours continuing to pour in, the men and women volunteers out here actually hope that Alex never has to use this accessible home.
It's a labor of love. I mean, people are taking vacation time to come out and do this. You know, it's just very moving.
I really don't know how to thank everybody.
The August 9th accident left Alex with an injured spine. He says at least it's not severed.
I just want to keep getting better and better every day. Just trying to tell my legs to move.
The Lebanon sophomore and his mother Tammy are filled with thanks for those who are helping the family. Check out Alex's weekend big catch outside his Indianapolis rehab facility.
He had some cheese sticks left from lunch. And we decided to go ahead and try that, and luckily he caught the big fish.
T-shirts and arm bracelets are being sold, fundraisers are being organized, and if he needs it, he'll soon have a home of his own. For Hoosier High School Sports Overtime, I'm Gene Cox.
Time now for Spanning the State, where we search far and wide for some of the best high school matchups around Indiana. Our first stop in Fort Wayne. Greg Jones of the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette saw a good one. Fort Wayne Bishop Lures 17-6 over Harding, but Greg, should Harding be happy they at least scored some points?
Well, the way Bishop Lures' defense has been playing for the first 3+ ball games of the season, I think so. I mean, they've thrown shutouts on their first 3 opponents, and for 3 quarters, they did it against Harding, and Harding got a touchdown pretty early in the 4th quarter, and they had some opportunities to score again, but they couldn't get that big play they needed.
Lures the only team with shutouts the first 3 weeks. This team looks like they're just basically mark them down. They'll be at Lucas Oil Stadium in November. You agree?
You know, I don't know. That's very tough to say, because I will say that the 3 teams that they beat, or the 3 shutouts, weren't the best 3 teams in the league, maybe actually closer towards the bottom of the SAC. And here's the big thing is the fact that sectional that they play in has about 4 or 5 ranked teams. So it's going to be a tough one for them to get through. They navigated it last year, and it propelled them into the state finals and the state championship game last year.
So Bishop Lures improves to 4-0. Now let's take a trip to Elkhart County. Great ball game between Goshen and Northwood. Northwood wins 9-7. Steve Craw of the Elkhart Truth saw it. A buzzer beater in a football game, Steve.
It certainly was. Last 9-7 game, the last 2 scores came in the last 19 seconds of the game.
Brandon Williams, Mr. Clutch, a 32-yard field goal as time expires. I understand this is his 3rd game-winning kick in the last 2 years.
That's correct. He beat Warsaw and Plymouth last year, his last kicks, and this year he beat Goshen.
So Northwood's always a team sometimes we see down here in Indianapolis. Is Goshen, how are they this year, and what's the state of football in your area?
Well, Goshen is up and down. The team of the area and Northern Lakes Conference, which is what Goshen Northwood is Concord. Concord has just been blowing everybody away. They have a high-powered spread offense. They don't see anybody beating Concord in our area.
All right, so keep an eye on the Minutemen, and you'd be wise to stay with us to hear from our next guest, Lawrence Central head coach Jason West. His Bears are unbeaten. We'll talk about their big win over Pike after the break on Hoosier High School Sports Overtime.
You're watching Hoosier High School Sports Overtime on Indiana Sport. We're back in time for triple overtime.
Welcome back to triple overtime, and this is the seat, coaches, you want to be in. It's the lucky seat. Coach Jason West of Lawrence Central is here. He is 4-0, and every coach who's been on this show is 4-0 right now as well. Ron Qualls, Pat Parks, and also Darren Fisher. So congratulations.
Well, thanks. I hope you have me back every week.
So phone calls come in if you want to be on the show next week. But let's talk about Lawrence Central 4-0. Maybe a team, I know the guys inside your locker room thought you had this in you, but maybe some of your competitors are very surprised at this start.
Yeah, we have a large senior class, so obviously, you know, anytime you have a class that large, you expect a lot of things out of them, and they've put a phenomenal amount of work into this project. So we're excited for the direction we're going.
You're an assistant last year, now first year as head coach. I'm sure it's gone about as well as you could have hoped for.
Yeah, I don't think it could go better. You know, so we're pretty excited. The schools, you know, it's just an exciting atmosphere right now, and everything's going according to plan.
The fourth win, a big one, against Pike on Friday night. 28-21 is your final. Let's take a look at the highlights. The Pike Red Devils with the 21-14 lead at halftime. What was your message in the halftime speech?
Stick to what we do. We can't change who we are in a halftime speech, so obviously get back to blocking, tackling, corralling great athletes and great coaching over there, and do what we had to do to be successful.
Good defense here in the third quarter, keeps it just a 7-point game. That's Jordan Provine with a fumble recovery after a Nick Tribune good tackle, and then you get to work on offense, and it's cousin Ryan Provine with a touchdown run. Great effort here.
Yeah, we'd like to have many more Provines. They're very athletic, very coachable, and they do a great job for us.
Your defense holds, and then a nice punt return. Special teams, when they make a play for you in a tie game in the fourth quarter, that's invaluable.
Well, that's a big momentum swing, and you know, momentum is the key to high school and college, you know, sports. And this was a huge play by Isaiah, and we're real happy that he followed the plan.
That's Isaiah Roundtree, and so then he says, give me the ball, I want to finish this one off, right?
Yeah, you know, when you get hot, you just keep giving it to him. So, again, great round here, fought off a nice tackle, or attempted tackle here, and finished the run.
So Pike has won so many games the last year and a half with Coach Moyers at the helm. They get the ball, or they had the ball at different times, down 7 in the fourth quarter, and your defense just came up with 2 interceptions to seal the deal on the road. Describe the feeling as the clock went to 0.
Oh, well, if you can play a team like Pike, who went to the state championship game last year, and we played them on the road, and we're resilient enough to come up with a win, you have to be excited about this.
So the scoreboard says 28-21, a big victory. Great job by the defense. You saw Isaiah Roundtree on special teams and in the backfield. Let's hear from him after the game.
Well, it started at the O-line. That's where it mainly started. And our main back, Zach Saunders, he got hurt. And I was happy my coach, he gave me the opportunity to step up. And I'm happy that I got to, you know, do good on those opportunities. So it started at the O-line. It means a lot. Last year we started off slow. I mean, I didn't expect us to do this good, but I'm happy we did this good.
So he says he didn't expect us to do this good, but he's happy. And I think you said it's a senior group, so maybe they did have the expectations, even though 2 straight 3-win seasons that they had, they thought they were just on the verge of something big.
Well, they haven't experienced before, so they didn't expect it, and you hope for it. Everybody hopes for it, but the reality is everybody can't achieve it. And right now we still have, you know, a long season to go with a great conference schedule. So, you know, it's early, but we're excited again for the direction we're headed, and we're looking forward to next week against Columbus North.
Conference Indiana, always a competitive conference, and Pike kind of took, you know, everyone by surprise last year. Now this maybe is wide open at this point because Pike now has 2 losses.
Yes, you know, and Derek and I are great friends, and we talked, you know, all week because we played in college together, and he does such a, you know, wonderful job. Takes him to the state championship game last year, and no one knew. They kind of shocked the world, really, and we were really excited for him and their program, and you know, we think it can be done now. I mean, they've led the way, and we hope to achieve the same thing. Obviously, we have a tough road and one of the toughest sectionals in the state, but it's obviously a great challenge, and we're looking forward to it.
It's Jason West.
You're watching Indiana's 4. Get ready for Hoosier High School Sports Quadruple Overtime.
Welcome back one final time. Now, we've had all kinds of football up to this point. It's time to talk a little soccer. Great guys game in Noblesville this week as the Millers hosted top-ranked Carmel. Yes, Carmel #1 when they traveled to their rival Noblesville. But the 18th-ranked Millers had upset on their mind. Taylor Anthony passes to Corey Thompson, who beats the keeper. Noblesville with a 1-0 lead. Now Carmel with a golden opportunity to tie it on a penalty kick in the second half. But Jared Eisenthal's shot goes off the post. The Millers keep the lead. The Hounds would have a couple opportunities late, but the Millers hold on. A 1-0 upset win as Noblesville takes down the top-ranked team in the state. One day earlier at Pike, the girls' game, Red Devils trying to pick up their second win of the season against Bloomington North. The Red Devils get the ball deep in their end before a Pike player could not get there. Julian Abb with the save for Bloomington North. She had 4 saves. A few minutes later, the Cougars get on the board, and Zerfus gets free, fires it in the goal. Bloomington North leads 1-0. Now Zerfus, with a big game, she tried to get another goal just before the half, but Pike keeper Riley Meehan comes out of the net to grab it. Zerfus, though, and Bloomington North would have the last laugh. Zerfus with 3 goals on the game. The Cougars win over Pike 3-0 is your final. If you have a comment or story idea for Hoosier High School Sports Overtime, how about you give our producer Wes Woodward a buzz or drop him a line? It's wwoodward@tribune.com, phone number 317-715-2744. We're looking for your story ideas and so much more. It's Hoosier High School Sports Overtime every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. on Indiana Sport. We're about high school football, volleyball, soccer, cross country, and everything else. We'll be here for football season and then basketball season on until March or April, around that time of the year. So thanks to Wes, also to Larry Hawley and Gene Cox for their contributions. Also thanks to Jason West for stopping by the studios. I'm Jeremiah Johnson. Thank you for watching Hoosier High School Sports Overtime. Spread the word. Next Sunday, we're on again at 11:30 a.m. Have a great day.